That is something that if you've ever been caught up in the normal church or religion, and just hyper spirituality, it's hard to learn to rest, because here in America and sometimes overseas, depending what country you live in, it's go go go, and the Lord is saying pull back, rest, and then find your enjoyment, find your peace and your rest in me. Rest doesn't mean I just sit on the side of the road and I just wait for God to do his thing and I don't do anything. Rest is a position in the spirit where we align our hearts and our minds to God, and we say, Lord, I don't need to move if you're not moving. And then we're okay with that. We're okay if we're not as busy as other people. In this hour, comparison will kill us if we let it. We cannot compare ourselves to other ministries, to other people, to what they're doing. Because if we compare ourselves, we're going to be jealous of another person, or we're not going to be who we think God has called us to be. We're going to feel like we're doing less, that we're missing the call of God. I know as I travel overseas, nobody talks about this, but when you travel constantly, you get like a spiritual high. And then when I first started traveling to the nations, I would go and I'd see people healed and people saved, and it would be amazing. And then I came home and I was working my job, and I felt like my life was useless, that I wasn't doing anything to advance the kingdom. And so I felt sad, I felt frustrated, and I had to learn that sometimes when we're on trips and we're doing ministry, we're doing what God called us to, there's this high and kind of like an acceleration and excitement that comes along with it, but then we go home to our normal lives and it's like we get deflated, we get frustrated, but being on a spiritual high, one of the things I learned is when you come out of that, you have to learn to relate to people and not out of your flesh or your frustration, because it's easy to swing from the spirit right into the flesh when you're doing things like that. You see miracles, you see healings, you're seeing like a crowd of 60, 80,000 people, and then you come home and you're working like an admin job, or your kids are, fighting, your work dynamic, your family dynamic. But so we have to find the peace and the rest in God. The peace and the rest doesn't come from our identity as who God has called us to be in ministry.